Welcome to Talk Truly, a podcast that is where we sit down and talk to vendors and business owners, and we get all the information about their company, about themselves, and about what they do for a living and how their life is. Today we have Dr. Mel. She is a chiropractor, and she is a special chiropractor. Dr. Mel, I'm going to go ahead and let you tell us about yourself.
Yeah, hello. Thank you so much for having me on here today. And so I am the owner of Wildflower Chiropractic, and I focus a little bit more on what I call neuropsychosomatic-based chiropractic. So typically what people, when they meet me, they're like, oh, you're a chiropractor. Come on, like give me chow, ka-chow, karate chop my neck. And I'm like, I don't do that. Now,
it makes me want to be a chiropractor. People are asking you to go ahead and pop their bones. I'm going like, okay.
Yeah, right. And so I actually use an instrument to adjust, and it is so nuanced that you can adjust people who have hardware in their spine. My mother-in-law has a cervical cage where she's got 3 fused vertebrae. This, you can easily adjust that. You can adjust people with hypermobility like Ehlers-Danlos and different things like that. And so there's no fear there because when you're not grabbing someone's neck and, putting in this like big force. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with manual chiropractic. I believe there's a time and a place for everything, but that's my niche, is the more gentle, nuanced chiropractic care. And I can go off on a 4-hour long tangent. I know we only got about, 20 minutes or so here today. But that's kind of the overarching theme of how I adjust. So.
Oh, wow. So what made you go into this type of chiropractic?
So this particular chiropractic technique I got into for one reason. Now, I'll get into why I got into chiropractic in general.
Oh, yeah.
When I was 14, I got into a car accident with my mom. We were rear-ended and our car spun. And of course, every 14-year-old teenager is like, everyone's like, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't acknowledge me, And so about a month later, I started getting migraines to the point that I was blacking out. I had gotten CAT scans, MRIs. I was on migraine cocktails. And finally, after about a year, they were like, we don't know what else to do aside from put you on narcotic pain medication because it's so bad. And I knew at 14, I was like, there's something else. There's got to be something else. And so my aunt took me to a chiropractor, and he explained to me that the top bone in my neck was rotated a couple degrees one way. The bottom was one underneath it was rotated a couple of degrees the other way.
So you've been twisted.
I was twisted. And so after that first adjustment, I have not had a migraine since. And I'm 33, so that's when I was 14. And I made the decision that I wanted to become a chiropractor. So I'm one of those people who, from the very beginning, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And I have a lot of grit. And I said, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to get there. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that is actually a great backstory because it's not like trauma to just, set a fire on you in life and say, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to just fix what's wrong.
Exactly.
And how long have you been doing it?
So I graduated in 2020, which was a fun year to graduate.
Yeah.
So officially got licensed in 21 because COVID derailed some of the board exams that we have to take. But I've been practicing for just about 4 years, and I've owned my business for just over 2. So.
Wow. Now, at your business, are you, what kind of services if someone would come in off the street?
Yeah.
What would they expect?
So I primarily do the instrument-based adjusting, and the cool thing about my practice is I spend 30 minutes every visit with my patients. So most people who go to a chiropractor, they come in, they do their little intake that lasts, 30 to 90 minutes, and then every time after that, you only see your chiropractor for maybe 5 minutes. It's, hey, how you doing? Pop, 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 out the door next. And, there's nothing wrong with a high volume model, but that's just, again, not how I practice. I'm very personable and I like to get to know my patients, and I love puzzles. So if you're coming in and we're chit-chatting on the table, you might be telling me just random stuff. Oh, I went golfing. Oh, I did this. Oh, my swing's gotten kind of weird lately. That is going to give me more information that I can plug in and focus on different things, and it builds rapport with you. And the other thing is I told you about the instrument based adjusting that I do.
Yeah.
And so getting into the story behind the instrument-based adjusting and why I chose that one specifically. I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and it's one of the leading causes of infertility. And so my husband and I were like, hey, while I was in school, let's start now. If it takes us 10 years, I'll be graduated. Everything will be good. So was not planning on having a child while I was in school. And I go to a seminar on this technique, and the guy was like, well, your sphenoid bone and your coccyx are both out. That's like the top and the bottom of, your spinal column. Basically, it's not your spine, but it's your cranial bone and your coccyx. But he explained to me how the sphenoid bone houses your pituitary gland, which is your master hormonal control center of the body. And then your coccyx, it goes all the way down where your spinal cord tethers into. So if you have tension up here where you have all these hormones, and then down at the coccyx where everything kind of attaches and gives rise to a lot of like reproductive organs and things, that's a recipe for infertility. So he's like, I'm going to adjust both of these things. Here's my card. If you're trying to have a baby, great. If you're not, make sure you're stopping that because this can spike fertility. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Well, 6 weeks later, I was 4 weeks pregnant with my daughter. And
wow.
yeah. And so I was like, okay, cool. I liked this technique. I loved how gentle it was. I tend to be a very overstimulated person to begin with. So like the world's kind of coming at you all the time and you're like, yeah, running around. And so I liked this because it made me sit back. It made me just breathe. And it was very gentle, didn't overexcite my nervous system. And I was like, I want to do this. And so while I was in school, I took all the classes to be able to do this particular technique. So when you come into my office, you're going to get soft tissue work. We're going to talk. We're going to do, that. And then we're going to get the adjustment. And that adjustment, everyone's like, really? This little like click, like that's it? And I'm like, oh yeah, I had a patient. I could talk forever about this. So
Can you make the button say that was easy?
Yeah, I should get one of those. So,
that would work perfect.
It really would. It really would. I have a patient who was very skeptical, and she was like, listen, I've been like my whole life, and I've had low back pain for 5 years since I had my first child.
Mm-hmm.
After I adjusted her occiput, she went to get up off the table for a second, and she was like, I don't have low back pain. And I'm like, we didn't even touch your low back. And she goes, yeah, and you use that little clicker thing. And how did that happen? And I was like, I told you it's powerful. So like, you don't, sometimes less is more. Sometimes, you need the more, but sometimes less is more.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I feel it right now. Anytime someone talks to you,
Yeah.
their posture's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of jacking around. I'm going like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Is that normal?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People all the time, like, they'll be like, oh, you're a chiropractor. I have to sit up straight. Or, so.
I can't turn my head.
Hey, you're right. Or I'll be out with my husband and we'll be like, out to dinner. And I'm like, check out the AS occiput on that guy. And he goes, so now he's starting to recognize it. He goes, yeah, they definitely have, their hip is out. And I'm like, oh, good call. Like,
Wow. Well, just if he's around it all the time, that's
Oh,
not, I've been to a chiropractor before after a wreck that I was in.
Mhm.
And the first thing they did was take x-rays and
yeah.
did all that. So the same thing happens with you. Do you take x-rays? And
So because the technique that I do is so gentle, I don't require x-rays unless there is a need in the case history for the x-rays or there isn't a wreck or something like that. And currently I do not have x-ray in-house, so I do refer out, but I have a couple of options around town that I work with. And I have a really good deal up in Cleveland with my chiropractor if you're willing to drive up there. And I know a couple of good coffee shops. So.
oh, wow. Who's your chiropractor in Cleveland?
Dr. Paula, she's with Full Circle Chiropractic. I rep her all the time. She's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. My chiropractor's in Cleveland as well, Cleveland,
Okay.
Tennessee.
Okay.
Dr. Rachel.
Okay, very
She,
cool.
she was amazing.
Yeah.
The only thing after that wreck, I was getting
Mhm.
spoiled
Mhm.
because I was getting adjusted and I had to get a massage every week.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, well, got to go to my massage, right
Right.
after I was healed, after the treatment
Mhm.
was over, I was going like, I'm not getting a massage every week. But this massage incorporated into your chiropractor.
So it is a little bit. I do soft tissue work. So like, let's say a lot, you have a lot of like neck and shoulder, pain and things like that. And that's like where your treatment is. Or if you have a desk job and you're sitting like this all day.
That's my wife.
So yeah, all that repetitive use injuries and things like that. So I'll work on kind of releasing the scalene muscles, releasing the pecs, different things like that in that 20 minutes before you get your adjustment. And that happens every single time. Now, if I believe that you need more than that, I'm currently in the process of relocating spaces.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
So I'm partnering with one of my good friends who's a massage therapist. So we're going to be able to be in the same space. So that way, your body, your nervous system is going to already be comfortable with the space if I need to refer you to get a massage with her. And we have a whole big long-term 10-year plan coming up here. So.
Oh, wow. I would ask you, but I know it's probably top secret right now.
Yeah.
Tell me some red flags, with people coming in your office.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure there's always somebody trying to go like, oh, this hurts. And you're going like, no, it doesn't.
Oh, so are you talking about like if red flags as if like the person is like, it really doesn't hurt or like malingering?
Yeah.
Or, there are some tests for malingering. I know, the gentleman who is helping us put this on here made the joke about the TikTok with the guy with the baseball bat who she's like, oh, I can't bend over. And, I'm not quite like that. But I do a lot of extensive tests. I do neurological testing. I do muscle testing, stuff like that to be able to kind of figure out where we need to hone into your nervous system. So
Well, your office is located in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Are you from Chattanooga?
I am not actually.
Where are you from?
So I grew up in New York, on Long Island.
New York.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't say coffee and dog and let's go get a coffee, all that anymore.
Which borough?
Nassau County, Long Island.
Oh,
So
cool.
just outside of the city. I used to go to the city all the time, but I've been officially down south for 15 years as of
Well,
this year.
bless your heart.
So yeah, I know. And my husband's from the south. He's from Woodstock, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
So-
I have some friends down there and near that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very into horses down there,
Okay.
it seems.
Yeah.
They were barrel racers in Woodstock.
Yep. There you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
So at your office,
Yeah.
are you partnered with anyone or do you have another doctor, another massage therapist?
So aside from the massage therapist that I'm going to be partnering with soon, as of right now, it's just been me. I am the CEO and the chiropractor and the marketer and the accountant and insert all the hats here.
Oh, man, it's
So-
going to be nice to be partnered, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. Having someone else that I can help me with marketing, help me with things like that. And
Well, can you share the name of your partner?
yeah, her name is Abby Hudson, LMT. She currently is at Studio Zen Massage, and she's
Oh.
fantastic. So I love Abby. Her dad was a chiropractor, and there's, a lot of just really awesome bonding that her and I have done. And like I said, we have big dreams to bring a whole wellness center and interactive, diverse wellness center to the community. So
Now, you were a part of Truly Effortless Events production of Truly Healthy You.
yes.
In fact, some would say you might have been the inspiration for me doing that show. And the reason why is, there is very much a holistic approach to medicine
Yes.
at that show.
Yeah.
What's your views on holistic medicine now compared to what it used to be? And, what's the movement?
So I believe in an integrative model. If there's a medical emergency, please go to the ER. I associated at a practice once, and there was a lady who fell down the stairs, and she came straight into our office in a computer chair. And I was like, this is not the first line of defense here. But when it comes to holistic healthcare, I really, in my heart and soul, believe that it is all about prevention. It's all about finding the root cause. And I feel like a lot of traditional healthcare has just gotten away from that. And it's more, let me cover up these symptoms. Let me do this. Let me do that. So I believe we're going through a movement of getting holistic care to become kind of like the first line of defense. Now, we have to be able to afford it and do all things like that. And one of my long-term goals is to actually create a nonprofit that still pays the practitioners what they're worth, but is allowing a sliding scale or free care for people who are underserved. Because if it wasn't for the fact that my aunt paid for me to go to the chiropractor when I was 14, I would have never known what chiropractic was.
Now it's like covered by insurance. Do you deal with insurance or?
Currently, I don't, just because I'm a one-woman business here, and insurance is a whole lot of 98941 and numbers and things like that.
One thing that I've learned about insurance is, okay, right now we'll pay you in about 6 months.
Yeah.
And when you are individually owned business,
Yeah.
it's tough to do. Go like,
Right.
okay, I owe you, I'll pay you in 6 months.
Right. And every insurance company is different. Some insurance companies will pay for wellness care, which is great. But some insurance companies will only pay for acute care. So, like, if you got into your car wreck and then you came in and then they're like, all right, well, treatment's over. We're cutting you off. You're done. I am a firm believer that everybody needs chiropractic care and you just need maintenance care. You're not going to go to the dentist, get a cleaning, and then never go back to the dentist. So,
Now I'm gonna kind of do a cross subject here.
yeah.
Because I'm very familiar with holistic medicine because I have a lot of friends that do it. I have everything. But to the normal everyday person, a lot of times they'll hear holistic. They don't know what holistic is. Can you kind of break it down what holistic medicine is?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different streams of thought when it comes to holistic medicine. There is the stream of thought that it is whole in the sense of you are looking at the person as a whole. You're looking at their musculoskeletal health. You're looking at their gut. You're looking at their mental health. You're looking at all of these things to try to figure out where their root cause is. And then there's another term for holistic, which is the avenue where people think that it's more, there is no medications, there's no pharmaceuticals, it's all natural, and different things like that. And I kind of, again, believe a little bit in a combined, from a part of that. Like I said, if you're a type 1 diabetic, like my niece, I'm not going to tell you to stop taking your insulin. So there's a time and a place for everything. But I do believe that holistic care is it should be more about preventative care than treatment care. And if society kind of was on that front, then I feel like we would have less sick people overall.
So, oh, wow. I mean, so it's really, time saving and money saving in the long run.
In the long run, yeah.
In the long run, because you're just going like, hey, we're going to get back to the basics.
Yes, exactly. But that doesn't mean that I don't treat. I diagnose and all of that because I am a physician. And most of the people that come into my office, they come in for pain or something like that. And then I educate them on your nervous system, on how the bioelectrical signals go from your brain to every cell, tissue, and organ in your body and control literally everything. And so once they get that education, they're like, some people, I'm like, are you sure you don't want me to stop talking? Because I love what I do. And they're like, no, like you're explaining it so well. I love it. So,
well, I mean, it really is. I mean, it's a lot of knowledge just coming at you, right now. When should someone look into doing services with a doctor like you?
So, I mean, I really feel like everybody could benefit from care. My daughter is 5 and she's been adjusted since she was 2 days old.
Wow.
And so she's gotten to the point now that she really only needs an adjustment, or a check maybe once a month or so. Or if she's 5, she's running around and falls and, does something, hits her head on something. We went to the jump park the other day, so she's getting her spine checked later today.
Oh, wow.
So anybody can really benefit. But if you're looking at more of a niche, my niche, I would say, is overstimulated millennials, because I feel like we're, all kind of on this collective struggle bus here. And that's, I mean, not just millennials, but anyone in their 20s all the way through, your 40s and 50s. And I mean, I think anybody who's overstimulated, overwhelmed, stressed out, starting to experience some body pain, different things like that, chronic fatigue, all of that, those are the people that I really like to see in my office, because we talk about all different kinds of things. We talk about your nervous system. We talk about your gut. I have some really awesome referrals in the community for people who work with the gut and your more chemical panels and things like that. So I try to bring the holistic approach.
Oh, wow. Now, if there was any kind of advice that you could give to anyone, anywhere, what would it be?
I'm going to say, so typically I want to go to come on in and get your spine adjusted.
Yeah.
But I also understand that, I want to give advice that you can take home today. And that's going to be, make sure you're drinking water, make sure you're waking up and you're stretching, and make sure that before you do any extensive movement, you do dynamic stretching. Because I feel like most people are used to let me, just hold this here and just hold it for 10 minutes.
And that's dynamic?
That is going to be your static stretching. Okay. So you're actually going to be more increased injury if you static stretch before you work out, because static stretching is basically telling your muscles to pull apart and hold it there and then contract really fast while you're going to be working out. You want to build up that contraction with a good dynamic stretch.
Oh, wow.
So I tell people, even if you don't work out, start your day off with drinking some water and doing like a 5-minute dynamic, like full body stretch. And even just that alone, that's something that's not going to cost you any money. You're probably going to notice a little bit of change.
Well, what is a dynamic stretch? I mean,
Yeah.
like squatting up and down, or
So, I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of things. You can do like little lunges. You can do even just walking and like, you know, stretching your arms like while you're walking. There's a whole, I mean, there's so many different things. So my favorite full body dynamic stretch is one where you stand up, you put about a foot away from the wall, and you extend your hips back, roll your shoulders back, hold, and then you kind of curl in, and then you keep doing that about 4 or 5 times and extend your head back. So that way you're getting all of your flexors.
but you're not rolling your shoulders. You're just going back and forward.
Yeah, kind of like a little roll like that, kind of with your arms back, because a lot of our tension is going to be in the front of our body. And when you get into fight or flight, I mean, you know, if your body doesn't know that your boss getting upset with you or your wife getting upset with you or whoever is not like a tiger trying to rip out your internal organs. So, I mean, it might feel like it sometimes, but our bodies want to go into this stressful situation where we're all flexed like this.
Yeah.
And so if you can get into extension and do it with like a nice slow flow movement and hold for a second, come back in, that's going to really make a big difference.
You know, I have, I'm of course a Gen Xer, you know, I'm getting up there in age and, you know, not as young as I used to be. And I need to stretch more because getting up and down,
Yeah.
to me, I've found it's like, you
I-
know, if I get knocked down on the ground, my gosh, you better have somebody near
Yeah.
give me a hand and pull me up.
Yeah.
Where when I was younger, I'd be like jumping up like some movie that you see in Japan, you know,
Yeah.
karate movie. I'm going like,
I-
you know, parkour stuff,
Right.
you know. So what would you recommend for like lower body strength, you know,
Yeah.
when it comes to your spine?
I definitely recommend doing psoas stretches. We actually talked about this before we started here. So your psoas is a very underrated muscle. It attaches to the front of your lumbar spine. So if this is your body, your head's up here and your feet are down here. If your lumbar spine is like right about here, it attaches right to the front there, and it's going to pull that spine in. So imagine pulling your belly out through your belly button. And so it's going to create that hyperlordosis in your back, which can create core instability, different things like that. So doing a good deep hip flexor and psoas stretch is going to be really, really awesome. Also getting your psoas released is important. I do that for some of my patients. Abby can do that as well. She's really good at doing psoas releases. She does mine. It helps. So,
You know, every time I talk to you, I always go like, well, I think I need to make an appointment because, you know, just talking about it, I'm like, well, this is kind of messed up
Yeah.
right here. And I find myself just walking like this. I'm going like, okay, am I doing the monster mash now? You know, so how,
Yeah.
if somebody came to Chattanooga,
Yeah.
you know, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah.
How would they find you?
So most of my most recent new patients, if they're not referrals, they find me on Facebook at Wildflower Chiropractic and Wellness. If you find my profile with my picture on it, that's just Wildflower Chiropractic. My account got hacked and I lost access to that one, so don't follow that one.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, and I still can't figure out how to get Facebook to let me delete it. But Wildflower Chiropractic and Wellness. And then you can go to Wildflower Chiro, CHIRO.com, and find all of our information there, as well as my community connections and the people who I recommend in the community.
So how right now, what's your best way to like get the word out about your company and your office?
Yeah.
Is it, you know, through Facebook you find a lot of referrals?
I do. I actually find a lot of people that come in. I ask them, I'm like, okay, so it says Facebook on where you found me, but how did you find me on Facebook? And most of it is they've gone into the different like mom groups or small business groups or different things like that. And they've looked up chiropractor and they've read through all the comments. And usually it's people who are trying to find maybe like a low force, more holistic chiropractor who spends a little bit more time with people. And that's what everyone's tagging me as. And so that's getting me referrals, even if the person that you're tagging on that who created the post isn't coming in. Other people are still looking and they're looking through the comments and they're finding me that way.
You know, you really hit it on a point. I used to go to a doctor that it felt like I was the number, you know, it was like, hey, how you doing? Whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, before I could even say anything,
Mhm.
all right, I'm going to go ahead and write your prescription for this, this, and this. I'm going like,
Yeah.
why? I didn't even say what for,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And I was just a number,
Mhm.
you know, at the office. Like my physician now, I have a nurse practitioner that I was lucky enough to be friends with.
Yeah.
She basically threatened me and said, Ed, you're coming to the office. I'm going to see you Wednesday.
There you
If you're
go.
not there, I know how to find you.
Yeah.
I'm going like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
But when I got there,
Yeah.
she's, you know, she gave me the whole works of like, you know, we need to find out the root of all your problems.
Yeah.
Because, you know, what you have and what's happening to you might not just be external, you know, and that's what piqued my interest on holistic medicine.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, that's who I am. You're not a number in my office. And I also give you autonomy because I might know the body better than you do, but I also hold space for the fact that you know your body. You've been with your body since technically before you were born. And so
That's true.
I give
mean,
you that autonomy.
yeah, a lot of times people go like, well, you're not feeling this. How do you know?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
excuse me?
Yeah. Yeah. So I like to hold space, just that, you know, I hold space for you in my office. I want you to know that it's a safe place. You can tell me anything. Everything's HIPAA. It stays between you and me. And it's a place that you can express really who you are and how you're feeling.
Well,
So,
you know, Dr. Mel, it's always great talking to you. Every time we speak, I walk away feeling better about myself and feeling a little bit sore that I need something happening. But I'm always inspired about your passion, about what you do. It's really put a lot into it, you know, and I want to thank you again for joining us on Talk Truly.
absolutely.
And, you know, look forward to having you at more events, you know, Truly Healthy You next year.
Yeah.
And thank you, by the way, because your idea of let's do this was amazing. And to me, it brought together the minds of some brilliant people that are just kind of blew me away, you know, and I want everybody to know about you.
Yeah.
You know, use her, talk to her, you know, you know, if you're seeing this podcast on Dr. Mel's website or her Facebook page, if you go to talktruly.com, it's going to have all our podcasts where we meet with local businesses to discuss more and to learn what's happening in their lives and what brought them to the point where they want to start their own business. You can find us at Truly Effortless Events on Facebook and trulyeffortlessevents.com, of course, on the internet. Thank you again. My name is Ed. The name of this is Talk Truly, where we bring local people, regional people, everyone here. We just bring all the facts so that way you can be better informed of what you do. Thank you again, and have an amazing day.